Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know a couple people are probably still coming in here in a moment. We're going to just talk through Google Shopping ads, which is also called vehicle listing ads. I apologize, I have some bad lighting today, so if I look like a silhouette or can't see me, apologies. I won't be doing most of the talking anyways. We have Danielle who will be speaking for us for the most part, but let's go and get started. And again, thanks for being here, and we'll go from here. So a little bit about, we'll talk about Line Automotive, talk about our approach to paid media, really what are these vehicle listing ads, current results that we're seeing so far, and then, like options for purchasing them if you were to use us, and then also any Q&A that you have. I do want to say ahead of this, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We will try to adjust them as we go. Otherwise, we will address any questions at the end that we did not have a chance to get to. So with that, well, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Brent Rogers. I'm one of the partners here at Line Automotive. We've been in business here since really 2016. Why don't I kick it to Danielle to introduce herself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle. I help oversee paid search automotive department here at Line. I've specialized in automotive paid search for about the past 6 years or so. And I definitely think vehicle listing ads are one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting developments to come out of Google. So excited to dive into that with you, and I'll kick it back to Brent.
Thanks. So for those of you who don't know us, Line Automotive, as mentioned before, we started back in 2016. That was with 2 employees. Now we're up to about 38 employees. Really started as a agency. Personally, I had a heavy retail background starting in 2008, financial crisis, great time to get into the business. But over the years, grew frustrated in the various roles I was in with what is sort of sold to automotive dealers in the space, and thought we could do it better. So that's when we kind of ripped the Band-Aid off, started Line Automotive with the premise of heavy experience delivering tier 1 service to dealer groups and dealerships. So if you look at our experience sort of up top, that is our non-automotive experience, but towards the bottom, we deliver the same level of service that we would deliver, Moet, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton, that we also deliver Volkswagen, that we also deliver to our dealer groups. And so the process is the same, the attention is the same, and really, dealerships have large enough spends that they deliver, should be delivered tier 1 service. So that's really where, the genesis of Line. Ultimately, we're, subject matter experts, first party data, SEO, paid search, paid social, programmatic, everything you can think of, we sort of have in our realm. But today we are going to talk about vehicle listing ads. So only a slide or two more about Line, and we can get right back into vehicle listing ads. So, what's the difference? Transparent, flat fee on our end, low account to staff ratio. So many of the template providers, as everyone's probably aware, they staff, 100 dealerships per employee. Well, we staff around 20. Everything we do is a custom account setup backed by automation. So we believe it's the right combination of automation and management. Very robust experience, as mentioned before, and we have a focus on really long-term client relationships, minimal staff turnover, and that has also led to very, very minimal turnover of clients. We have about a 95% retention rate on the automotive side. So again, just experience, this is really what products do we have, whether it's strategy, paid search, conversion rate optimization, e-commerce. We power e-commerce sites for accessories and, for many dealers, parts and service, data strategy, of course, display video, paid and organic social, and of course, analytics. So getting into paid search, our approach to paid search, really, how do we do that differently other than just agencies? So when we look at paid search, we look at as a focus on the KPIs. And so whether that's digital retailing, a phone call, form fills, and store visits, we do not optimize for big spends. We optimize just for those results. And so while we might monitor something like VDPs and VLAs, vehicle listing ads are a great tool to drive VDPs, we're really focused on trying to get you phone calls, form leads, all of that to try to drive sales. So all of that, again, paired with our customizable tech. So as we talk through our campaign structure that we normally set up, like what's a low funnel campaign, what's mid funnel, what's upper funnel for driving activity, vehicle listing ads falls really in that mid funnel level. That's where the user is searching for vehicles. They might be long tail, they may have not made a decision yet. So they're not quite ready to convert just now, but they're getting ready to convert. And that's right where vehicle listing ads fall into mid funnel campaigns. So a lot of VDPs, you will get calls and forums, but VDPs is the biggest factor for vehicle listing ads, very similar to the Facebook campaigns that most dealers are running. So before we get started actually into VLAs, which I'll kick it to Danielle, you know, cars for sale is a big thing that came out on Google Business Profile, formerly called Google My Business, really last year, and everyone thought it was a great tool. And why were they doing that? Well, Google came out with this for the sake of running these vehicle listing ads. This was the end goal. And so we're now at the point of taking this inventory that's integrated to your Google Business Profile, again, formerly Google My Business, and integrating that into this vehicle listing ads. And so one key call out is you must have this to be able to run these campaigns. Yes, we can do this for you. It is part of our fees and fee structure that these cars for sale will be part of vehicle listing ads, but it's just definitely a call out to know that you must have this to run vehicle listing ads. So with that, we'll dive right into VLAs, and I'll kick it to Danny to take us the rest of the way, and I'll wrap up at the end. Danielle, it's all yours.
Great, thanks. So let's start with what exactly are vehicle listing ads. You can see an example here on the right-hand side. It's those picture ads at the top. They're ads based on a live inventory feed. So products, only vehicles that you actually have in stock online, that's exactly what we're serving to searchers. They take you directly to the VDP. So when you click on it, really, again, as Brent mentioned, we're optimizing towards VDP views mainly. That's what it's driving. So that helps us get the highest possible conversion rates. It appears at the top of the search results, and as you can see, it takes up a lot of real estate here. One thing we're noticing is that Google is definitely starting to prioritize these more and more. So as you're searching, you know, things like used cars for sale or Toyota Prius near me, this is what's coming up at the top. And those standard text ads are right below them. So again, this is something we recommend launching, but also working in tandem with the other campaign types. And because this is a new beta, that means there's not as many advertisers involved currently, which means there's far less competition and cheaper CPCs as a result. So then we'll dive a little more into some specifics on the next slide. So this is set up as a smart shopping campaign, which means a lot of features that you aren't going to see in a standard shopping campaign, a lot of upgrades here. You can see the long list of pros that we have down. First off, there's more effortless optimization. So again, we're not running off of keywords here. We're taking actual attributes from our feed and matching to searchers based on that. So that leads to highly relevant targeting, especially with Google's backend data. They take the search queries and also predicted intent to serve the most relevant product to searchers. This also allows us to be involved in dynamic ad formats, so shopping ads, local inventory ads, display ads, and also it supports dynamic retargeting. So searchers that have already been to your site, interacted with a car, they can be reserved that car and display targeting later on. This also gives us the opportunity for more expansive reach. So not only will we serve on the Google Search Network, but also the Display Network, YouTube Network, and Gmail Network. And we'll dive into some examples of what that looks like on the next few slides. These campaigns function off of automatic bidding, which means that we set the target exactly what we want to aim for, and machine learning on Google's side helps optimize towards that target to get us the highest performance at the lowest cost possible. So again, we'll dive a little more into performance later on, but we're seeing really strong results from this automatic bidding. And this campaign type does have the same location targeting capability as your other campaign types. So targeting a radius around the dealership or negating any areas you don't want to serve in, that's not a problem at all. That'll function exactly the same as other campaigns. We do have the ability to segment within these campaign types. So say you want to serve only used inventory and not new, we do have that capability. And we're also able to view product specific data, so we can take a look at how vehicles are individually performing and exclude vehicles if needed. And then finally, this format does have additional visuals available. So we have to include images, typically lifestyle images or dealership images to accompany these ads. And video is also optional, but available as a feature. And then cons. Really all it comes down to is a little bit less granular control and reporting. So for example, we're not able to negate any search terms. We're not able to show you a search term list, but what we have seen is the algorithm doing a great job at providing really relevant audiences and driving results for us. So on the next few slides, we'll walk through exactly what these ads look like. Here you can see an example on the Google Search Network. So on the left being desktop, on the right being mobile. Again, one thing to note here is that this is taking up a lot of real estate on that page. It's the first thing your eyes go to, and definitely recommend getting in there, especially as this rolls out more and more. Text ads will take up even less space and have less opportunity on the search page. So definitely want to get involved early in this. And then on the next slide, we have the Google Display Network. So again, this may be where you see some dynamic retargeting ads. Vehicles you've already visited could reappear here, or could be involved in some prospecting efforts as well. Showing vehicles based on your intent and how Google thinks you're going to best interact with these ads. And then on the next slide, we have the YouTube network. So again, very similar formats here, but it could appear below or beside videos. So left being mobile, right being desktop. And then lastly, we have the Gmail network. So on the left, you have a desktop version showing different vehicles. On the right, you have a mobile version. So that image in the background, that's a closed version of the ad. When you click on it, what you would see is on the right. So we also do include some images, as I mentioned earlier. So it could also not just show vehicle images, but also more general images, and create, different text ad variations to go with it. So these are just a couple examples of what that might look like on the Gmail network. And then lastly here, we'll dive into performance, as I mentioned earlier. So just comparing this to standard search campaigns, as I mentioned, it's really low competition right now, so it's a great time to get involved. We're seeing 29% cheaper average CPC than standard search campaigns, 80% cheaper cost per conversion. Impression share is extremely high at 83%, and that's at generally a pretty low spend thanks to the low average CPCs. At an 88% lower spend than standard search campaigns, VLA drove 489% more impressions and only 41% less conversions. So you can see that in the graph here on the right. Much lower spend, but still very high volume in conversions. And conversion rate was 255% higher. So again, this is really effective at driving more awareness and also VDP views. And definitely seeing great results with it so far. So definitely recommend utilizing this format in your program moving forward. And then I will go ahead and kick it back over to Brent to talk about some pricing.
Yeah, thanks, Danielle. And I'll just, because I can't help myself, circle back on just this performance. This was with some of our pilot dealers, and some of the examples that we pulled there. Just really excellent performance overall, like Danielle mentioned. To see Google at the low cost CPCs that we are seeing has just been unheard of with how competitive it's been. As we all know, we're often seeing $5 plus cost per click on many of our campaigns, and seeing some campaigns at times with $1, $2, $3 at the high end on VLA. So we were concerned that it was actually going to be a little bit more expensive, which is why when we first approached this, we wanted to test out several dealers before we launched it to everyone. And it's just incredibly effective. It's a no-brainer to reallocate spend from other campaigns here. Everybody really needs to be a part of it, and at some point it probably is going to go up, but the first adopting dealers are going to get the benefit of that low competition, as Danielle mentioned. So pricing, how are we going about it? With our packages that we have within Greenline, what we call biddable media, our packages include social, YouTube, video, all of that for one price. And for any new clients, depending on what their budget level is, they will also get VLAs as part of this. And so it's just included in our fees if you're part of us managing your campaigns. Now, if you are not part of Greenline, or you're using another provider and you want us just to run vehicle listing ads, on the right side you can see our pricing for a la carte. So $300 tech fee, and then it's 20% of media. Well, we don't normally charge 20% of media. We did want to get all dealers the opportunity to run these ads with us. There are only so many providers that can even do these ads. As a tech provider, we do have the ability to do so. Another call out here when we talk about vehicle listing ads, the price, this does include the cars for sale. And so if you are buying cars for sale a la carte through another provider, it is included with vehicle listing ads. So there is some savings there, or some quantities of scale. With that, that's pretty much it. I don't see any questions coming through on chat. If there are any questions, please feel free to shoot them over right now. We'll wait here for a moment to see if you do have any other questions. Otherwise, feel free to follow up with us after the fact via email, and we will get back to you very quickly with any answers. Our generic email is just info@greenline.nyc, but you can also email us all direct, Brent@greenline.nyc, as well as Danielle@greenline.nyc are our email addresses. So still waiting to see if there's anyone who has any questions via chat, and then we'll answer them as we go. One question that just came through was setup time. And sorry, let me get back to my screen here. So setup time from launch or from contract to setup, it does take us about 30 days. We build the ad account, we build the merchant center account, which is where this is powered. We get cars for sale linked up for you, if not already. And so usually it's about 30 days. It's actually happening slightly quicker than that, but for expectation purposes, we don't want to say it's going to be any faster than that. We don't want to overpromise and under-deliver. So expect 3 to 4 weeks, but 1 month setup time is probably a good plan. Another question that I'm seeing come through is, what's the starting budgets, or the budget's going to Google? So Google's recommending $2,000. We are starting some of our dealers at $1,000 and on up from there. Again, at $2 to $3 a click, you can have an idea of how many VDPs that's going to drive for you by comparison to social. Social is a little bit cheaper, but we have seen some of our dealers, well under $2 on the CPCs for the VLAs. And so, again, I think $1,000 is a good way to do it. Some other ways that some of our dealers are segmenting this is that they have co-op dollars for used or CPO, and then separately for new. And so we've segmented the new and used inventory accordingly. And then we are submitting for co-op on their behalf based on those campaign splits, because some manufacturers, of course, require a certified pre-owned budget, and others require a new car co-op budget, and we apply for that accordingly. Another question is cars for sale. I already have cars for sale. Do I still need to use you for it? We do need to be the data source powering your cars for sale for these ads to run. So if you are using another provider, unfortunately, you will, although it's a hassle, you will have to switch that to us. We have to be powering the feed to power the smart campaigns. Again, that's one of the reasons it is included in the pricing for running these ads. I don't see any other questions coming through at this time. We'll give everybody just another moment, and then again we'll follow up with a recording of this call. When did the program officially start? So that just came through. So program start, it has existed for a while. It just hasn't existed for all tier 3 dealers. In the screenshots that we had put in some examples here, we had Carvana and CarMax who have a different setup within Google, and they have access to things from the beginning that that Google has not offered every tier 3 dealer. And so they have had them probably for almost a year at this point. For tier 3 dealers with us, we've been running them for about 2 months now. And really a couple of the other providers, maybe I think there's one other provider who had some campaigns running about 30 days ahead of that. So really, while it's been in existence, you can probably say it's about 90 days old for tier 3 dealers. Again, it's still very new. It's still actually a beta program. So when we talk about how old is it, it's very young. But it also is beta. As a tech partner, we are able to get what's called instant verification, and although it's instant, it still does take that time frame to get launched. So we can get everybody going with that instant verification and not having to go through a approval process. That's one of our benefits of being in this part of the program. But it is not released to just any agency in the country, so you do have to check with your agency whether they can do it. I do know that we have several agencies that are on the webinar. We do have a ability to partner with our tech with you sort of as needed. So if you are an agency and you're curious how you can make this work for your clients, probably best to reach out to me directly on that one, because there's some added complexity to it, but it's definitely doable, and we have a couple of agencies pushing their clients live currently. Again, you can see on screen here, there's my email and also the info@greenline.nyc. I don't see any other questions coming through at the moment. So with that, I think we'll probably just wrap up. We have a few minutes left over, but I think seems to be that everything's okay there for questions. So thanks for the time. Wrapping up, I think that for dealers, this is the dealers are going to get the best of their first adopters, and so any cutting edge dealers out there who want to try something different, this is definitely the thing to try. We're going to have some really good performance for a significant period of time while competition is low. For budget allocation, one thing I want to bring up is as you're thinking about your budgets and where can I reallocate from, I don't want to just add spend, especially during tough time of inventory like right now. The dynamic text ads that are out there are a good opportunity to switch over. That is that longer tail text ads that run on paid search from inventory feeds. That's a great area of offsetting to test out VLAs and test the performance there. So that's one last note I'll give you of just thinking through good budget reallocation.